Hey, hey, hey.
And we are live.
What's up, Big Connect?
Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gem in the Crypto episode 1101. Woo, can you believe it? Today is a huge day. We have a special guest with us today. CK Snarks from the Bitcoin Conference 2023 is here live with us, and he'll be giving you an inside look at this year's Bitcoin Conference. And of course, he'll be going over today's top stories with us, which will include Ordinals turning Bitcoin into a worse version of Ethereum. Can we fix it, says the magazine by Cointelegraph. Crypto community response to U.S. Democrats backing SEC's crypto authority. SEC Chair Gensler claps back at Coinbase, says crypto rules already exist. And you'll be getting an inside look at Bitcoin Conference 2023 before the floor gets filled. But before further ado, I want to introduce CK Christian Carolles here. He's a journalist and the managing director at Bitcoin Magazine. He hosts the Bitcoin Magazine podcast, Fed Watch podcast, Bitcoin Magazine Spaces, and covers Bitcoin as it monetizes. And of course, he is at the conference right now as he gets ready to show us how it looks. CK, welcome to the show. How are you today?
King, I am doing fucking amazing. We are 2 days away from the Bitcoin conference. I'm here in the expo hall. I'm actually at the store, so you can see we got to sign up. We got Bitcoin Magazine. I'll show the audience of the show, the first sneak peek of the floor. This is literally going to be the very first place that you see it. I'll show it later. But y'all, the Bitcoin conference is happening. This is the biggest gathering of Bitcoiners in the world. And this is where we, show the world how far Bitcoin has come every single year. This year, things are getting really serious. We have a lot of very, very serious, folks coming from around the Bitcoin ecosystem, not just from the Bitcoin ecosystem. And they're trying to communicate to the Bitcoin audience and communicate to the world their positions on Bitcoin. So I think Bitcoin is growing up a lot. And it's amazing to see just a massive conference like this for Bitcoin in the middle of a bear market. 10,000 plus Bitcoiners coming strong, pretty much the entire ecosystem coming together. So excited to chat about it, King. And thanks again for having me on the show. I love you guys even today. And I love coming on and getting to chat Bitcoin.
Thank you for coming. Always happy to have you here. It's really important for people to see kind of like some of the leaders in our industry are still just normal people. They're Bitcoin enthusiasts. They want to push this thing forward. And you are just doing some of the things to do that. Really quick for the conference, if you missed it last year, people, this was probably one of the best conferences I've ever been to, period. Not just a Bitcoin conference or crypto. Like this was literally, I'm not being exaggerative or nothing, guys. I'll tell you the truth. It was a great conference. Like every day, it's a sound stage outside. It's people performing. It's food trucks. I mean, don't even get me started inside. Like literally inside the conference hall, they weren't using a piece of the convention center. They used the entire convention center, people. You will get lost in there, seriously, and you will literally walk at least 3 to 5 miles a day. It's no exaggeration. If I remember, they had Serena Williams, Odell Beckham, some of the special guests, Jordan Peterson. So, I mean, it was just a ton of going on. Not even to mention the actual subject matter experts there, the companies, the themes, if I remember, on the floor for the most part. There was a lot of lending companies with Celsius leading it with the biggest booth. Of course, that didn't last. There was a lot of mining companies, lending, mining. It was one of the themes I really saw last year. So that's one of the fun parts about going to these conferences, folks. You can walk the floor and you kind of get a feel of what the theme is going to be heading into next year. So definitely worth checking out.
When you go to an event that happens at the top of the bowl, you can see where the bubble is. That's for sure.
That's true. Well, honestly, and that's why I was saying, I'm definitely going to try to make it this year, but like I'm definitely making it next year. Like the happening year, I'm going to be there for sure next year for sure.
Yo,
but, I know this
we're
year's
gonna
going to
be
just
announcing
exciting.
this year at the conference where it's gonna be and when it's gonna be next year.
Ooh,
and hey, for everyone who just can't make it to Miami, we have a live stream. So the main stage with color commentary from a news desk, the Marathon Mining news desk. We're live streaming it every single day, and then we're going to be posting on the Bitcoin Magazine YouTube page every single session that happens. So we're doing our best to get all the content out there. But frankly, if you don't come here in person, you miss out on what the conference is about, which is not the content necessarily. It's about the networking. It's about meeting people And honestly, this is where companies get started. This is where startups get founded. This is where friendships get made. People across the internet are just interacting and talking about Bitcoin, and this is where they all come together, meet in person. So it's the pilgrimage. It's freaking awesome. And I think like the Bitcoin community, it shows how far this ecosystem and community is that we have a world-class event like this. Like it's not, this is not the meetup or a hangout. Like this is one of the biggest fintech events in the world, right? And it's for Bitcoin. Yeah. So here, let me just give you a quick little peek.
Woo,
like
look at that floor,
we're,
folks.
We're building it, but like this, like look at this thing. Like this is not a joke, y'all. Like this is huge. This is one of the biggest events happening in the Miami Beach Convention Center this entire year. And it takes an entire week to build the thing. So when you get here, that's a week's worth of work.
Quick question: is the volcano making a return?
I can't comment on any specific
activation. Oh, I love it.
So you got to be here, but we have some really, really cool activations this year, and the volcano was behind the news desk last year, so we have a really cool activation right behind the marathon news desk this year.
There we go. And really quick, you brought up a good point as far as the different people and everybody you'll have there. One of the common questions, we just got this the other day, so make sure you are listening. And here is a great move. It's an investment, but it's a good move. For those who are asking, hey, how do I get a job into Bitcoin specifically? Not into crypto, not into meme coins, central. How do I get a Bitcoin job? How do I do? People, if you go to the Bitcoin conference, I'm almost guaranteeing you, you're going to walk out with a job if you put in the work. There are 100%. Literally too many, there's too many companies, people. There's too many. Some companies have booths, some have stands, some are just walking around, not even with a booth. They're just literally, as he said, you're just meeting and greeting and then from there. But if you are looking for a Bitcoin job, go to the Bitcoin conference, put the work in. Now, of course, I'm just going like, I stayed in the lobby, King, I didn't get a job. No, go with your resume, go talking to people, being down doors, scheduling meetings. Really, you should start like right now, Monday, to set these meetings up. But I can almost guarantee, like after 3 days of being at the conference, like you're going to leave with a job. Like you're going to leave with a job there, folks. So something to consider.
Can I tell you a story, King?
For sure. Go ahead.
So I started at Bitcoin Magazine February of 2018. I quit my job before starting at Bitcoin Magazine 2 weeks before Christmas, which is pretty much the top of the Bitcoin market in 2017. So like Bitcoin hits 20, I quit my job. 2 weeks later, it's down 50%. I have no job. I book a ticket to go to the North American Bitcoin Conference, which is a complete shitcoin conference. There's banana coin posters, radiology chain, all that kind of noise. But I shook hands. I met every single person there, and I met the Bitcoin Magazine team. And that was in January of 2018. And then February 2018, I started working at Bitcoin Magazine, and I've been here ever since. So, wow. I got a job going to a conference, and it wasn't even a good one. Like, this is Bitcoin only conference. This is a huge conference. This is 1,000 times better than the North American Bitcoin Conference. So, if you want to get a Bitcoin job, I second what you just said, King. This is the #1 place in the world to do that at this type of year. This is the opportunity to do it and to break into this industry.
There we go, folks. All right, really quick, we're going to take a peek at some quick prices to give you all an update. And we're going to jump into a couple of stories because I definitely want CK's and, Bitcoin Magazine's thoughts on some of the more popular things that are happening in Bitcoin. But first and foremost, let's go ahead. Bitcoin's coming in not as hot as normal as you all would like, but at $26,940 is down 1.42%. Ethereum is at $1,812, down 0.48%. At number 6, we have XRP at 42 cents, down 1.23%. Number 9, we have Solana 2075, down 2.47%. And at number 10, Polygon Matic rounded out at 84 cents, down 2.83%. Some of the trending coins, Pepe is still trending, of course. I think they'll be trending for at least another week. Milady meme coin, so the ladies out there streaming, and Sui. And then the recently added crap coins, of course. Nothing token, perfect name. Lilu or Lili, I don't understand. And then if you didn't get enough Pepe, you can get some Pepe Key now, whatever that actually is. So there you have it with the recently added and trending tokens as well. Can never get enough of that. 22,000 plus cryptos out there. Now, top story of the day. This is a very important story, and I can't wait to get CK's thoughts on it. For most of these stories, folks, the headline is in the story, so we're not going to go too deep into it. But this is something we kind of broached on last week. Ordinals turned Bitcoin into a worse version of Ethereum. Some folks are out there saying, of course, we did see Maddie Greenspan come out and say, I'm kind of upset at not realizing at myself for not realizing in relation to the Ordinals project on Bitcoin, saying that, hey, this thing is becoming a cluster. Some people agree, some people disagree. I'm always about, hey, if it's brand new, it's brand new. You have to at least give it some time to transition and to make it work. But let's hear it from the expert, CK, over at Bitcoin Magazine. What are you all's thoughts on Ordinals? We saw you actually have been writing some stuff up on your website about it as well. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, well, ordinals is definitely something that is a controversial topic, and it's something that Bitcoiners have very mixed views about. Personally, really what it is there's two elements here. One, there's a mechanism to inscribe data on Bitcoin, which is called inscriptions, which uses the Taproot and SegWit upgrades to do so. And what that does is that allows you to permanently anchor data on Bitcoin. So that's element number one. And that is Bitcoin. Like, that's part of Bitcoin. You can't remove that from Bitcoin. Like, that is part of the game theory now. That's something that people are going to use as part of Bitcoin moving forward, period. The cat is out of the bag, if you will. And then what is layered on top of it is like almost like this serial code numbering system. That is the ordinal protocol. So what the ordinal protocol claims to enable you to do with this labeling is now you can label all the sats in the Bitcoin system. They all have a unique label. And because of that, if you use this system, you can theoretically track sats from beginning to end, and you can assign a inscription to a sat and theoretically move ownership of that inscription via adhering to the ORD protocol. So that's not necessarily Bitcoin, right? That's a layer 2 labeling system that is like on top of Bitcoin, and it's up to people to embrace it or not to embrace it. So yeah, someone's pointing out in the chat that they heard the numbering went wrong. Like, yeah, I think they've had like 1 or 2 instances where the numbering went wrong on the labeling system, and then they had to like reevaluate who has what, right? So like, that's not 100%, like, that is something that's on top of Bitcoin, right? It's not enforced by the Bitcoin layer. It's not enforced by the miners. It's not enforced by the network of nodes. It's something that needs to be bought into. So I would say the ORD protocol is very, very controversial. We'll see, like, if that sticks. Like, we'll see if people adhere to it. We'll see if people care about it at all, right? Does that make Bitcoin a worse version of Ethereum? Absolutely not. Like, that headline is extremely stupid, to say the
Right.
least. Extremely stupid. If anything, what we're seeing in mass right now is every single use case that was happening or being experimented on or got any traction on an altcoin chain, it's making its way to Bitcoin. So we're talking about decentralized central banking. Have you heard of FediMint? Well, that is exploding now in the Bitcoin scene. We talked about, back in 2017, people were saying, like, hey, Bitcoin can't be used for payments. Well, we've had Lightning now since 2018, and it is just going parabolic. You're saying, hey, maybe Lightning is not as decentralized as, a blockchain. Okay, well, Lightning is the most decentralized payment network in the world. So that's still pretty damn good. All right, we're talking about social media on the blockchain. Okay, well, now we have Nostr, and that's built right into Bitcoin and Lightning. So, and hey, you want to talk about NFTs? Okay, well, now we have a version of NFTs. We'll see if it sticks. But unlike the Ethereum NFTs, which, it's like a hash that points to a website that has an image on it, the actual data is inscribed onto the Bitcoin blockchain. So I think there's a lot of layers here where, like, the Bitcoin ecosystem is exploding in every direction. And it's growing in every direction, and every use case every good use case, it's finding its way back to Bitcoin for experimentation in a way that doesn't affect the blockchain itself. So we're seeing the Bitcoin thesis play out, and frankly, the clickbait title of that piece that you showed, I think it was just clickbait. And honestly, like, crypto and Ethereum and all that stuff, that's just the test net for the future of what is going to be coming back to Bitcoin, in my opinion.
You know what? You said that like just perfectly, so eloquently. Fully agree with you. Isaiah has been saying this for years. Something I piggyback on is like whenever you talk about whatever's being made in this space, in the crypto space, and blah, 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 one thing he's always said is like, well, we can do that on Bitcoin. People are like, why haven't you? Why this? He's like, because it takes time. It's like, it's harder to build. It's not going to just happen overnight. So I think that's what we're finally seeing, where it was like 2017, 2018, like you did have Ethereum doing this. You do have all these other projects. People are complaining. You can't spend your money with Bitcoin. You can't do this, or the transaction speed, blah, blah, blah. And now that these improvements are finally being made, now people are saying, well, now it's just another bigger Ethereum that doesn't work. And it's like, well, Ethereum still doesn't work for one, but when it started, it really wasn't working. So it's like, yeah, you guys are knocking a project essentially for trying to add the features that everyone claims they wanted. And since the features are being added and aren't perfect overnight, then people are going crazy. So to me, that's kind of that's interesting, but I'm with you on that. I'm glad to see the way Bitcoin is actually building on top of it. Really quick, folks. I just
want to throw something out there. Sorry, someone pointed out that Ordinal had an issue, like the Ord protocol had an issue, and the numbering got wrong, and people were freaking out. How do we fix this? Well, last week the entire Ethereum network stopped producing blocks, right? Like the thing that they're building, E2, this whole brand new, new blockchain that's better than everything else, stopped producing blocks completely. So like the way that Bitcoin is being built, the way that these solutions are being built on Bitcoin is done in a way where you don't have to compromise the base layer. Like that's the whole thing. When's the last time that Bitcoin didn't produce a block? 10 minutes ago, right? And it's going to happen every 10 minutes on cue, right? Statistically speaking. So like, that's the whole point. Like it might be a little clunkier right now, but in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be much better. And it's built on Bitcoin. It's built on a good foundation. It's like, there's that parable about, building your house on sand versus building it on stone. Like it might be harder to drill into the ground when you're building it on stone, but when you finally built it, it's going to be better.
There it is. All right. Transitioning over. This is another important one we have to get your feedback on. I'm not gonna lie, folks. As I say, I don't trust either party. To me, they're all the same. I've been in the military. I understand how the government works. I can tell you just from a military point of view in the United States, it literally does not matter the party. Like the party, the person, none of these things matter. Whoever gets elected tomorrow, man, woman, child, dog, whatever, we're going to be bombing the same countries. We're going to be getting our oil. Like a lot of things won't change. So to me, both of the parties are the same. With that being said, I say that because I know this is triggering for you all, but crypto community responds to U.S. Democrats backing SEC's crypto authority. One community member expressed their decision to part ways with the party, arguing that the Democratic Party is playing with God with the future of American innovation. Now, when I was looking at this article, I was like, well, the party might like it for this reason and that reason. But what I did not like, and what I'm about to share, is the fact that they're all on cue. And it looks like it's an SEC-led thing as well. So it looks like right here, the United States Democratic Party has expressed its intent to back the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC's total authority over crypto in a memo circulated among committee members before a hearing. Again, this was a memo circulated among community members before a hearing. The documents were shared on social media, causing backlash from crypto community members. May 10th, the documents were shared on Twitter, highlighting key messages for the Democrats to support the SEC's authority on crypto regulation. This includes his argument that nearly all digital assets constitute securities. All right, so this is my issue with what's happening right here, and it makes no sense to me, and I'll go on to why. Really quick, for those who don't know, I used to do PR, public affairs, public relations, all that. I was a PR person. I was a spokesperson for the United States Navy. I had release authority and all that. The reason why this matters is because one part of my job were to be advising commanders. So admirals, captains, all this stuff. I get them in a room, ask them different questions, which they probably get from the media. And the thing that I get from the Pentagon, every PAO is like 250 PAOs on the planet for the Navy. And we are on different areas, different units. And what we get from the Pentagon is this packet. Depending on what area you're in, you have a packet for the area. So for me, I ran all Asia, Middle East. That was my AOR. So it would be called PACOM Talkers, Pacific Communications Talkers, essentially. And they have one main theme of what the Pentagon wants. And then they have your messaging under that. And then what you need to say with the messaging. My point is that it is all directed. It is all organized. No one's saying anything like from their own brain. Everything's coming from the Pentagon. We're just disseminating that information so everybody's on board with it. Now, essentially the same exact thing happened here with the SEC and the Democratic Party. And my issue with that is not what the Democratic Party or the SEC is supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to be getting together saying, hey, we're going to push this out to the public and we're all on the same messaging and theme. No, the Democratic Party, which has elected officials, are supposed to be representing their constituents. They aren't supposed to be saying, well, the SEC told me to say this, I'm saying this. No, you're supposed to be saying my community told me to say this, so I'm saying it. But really quick, I want to look at these key messages just so you can see how they kind of play out. One of the first ones, key messages. While Republicans claim they are working to provide clarity to the market by carving out space for the CFTC and crypto, they're simultaneously undermining and hamstringing the agency by proposing to cut its budget. Republicans are proving that they really aren't serious about protecting investors and consumers. Again, this is the code they want all Democrats on. And to me, this is why are we doing Democrats versus Republican in this instead of doing right versus wrong information? Another one is saying, again, committee Republicans are trying to pass pro-crypto legislation. I can't believe the messaging even says this, but it says, well, newsflash, our nation is set to default on its debt as early as June 1st. Republicans' number one priority must be to join Democrats in passing a clean debt ceiling bill to avoid an economic catastrophe before it's too late. Again, they're literally trying to take control of crypto, in my point of view, just so that they can pay off some of the national debt. Why? Because the old guard isn't on the crypto and the Bitcoin ecosystem. So why do they care? They don't. But essentially, you all can read more about this, but it keeps going on with these messaging. Another, they're talking about a turf war between the SEC and CFTC. Like, this is our government and our leaders essentially trying to get on the same page with crypto without actually speaking to any constituent. This is kind of crazy to me. What are your CK? I know you're in the back working like crazy, but what are your thoughts on this?
No, I was listening. I was listening.
Okay.
I saw one of my coworkers I've been working with for over a year remotely, and I've never met him in person, so I had to give him a hug.
Oh man, that's
and then he was like, "Where's the next meeting, bro?" I'm like, "I don't know."
If that isn't Bitcoin, but yeah, what are your thoughts on this when it comes to, I guess, the Democratic Party drawing a line and saying, "Hey, we're back in the SEC regardless," and what they're doing is right, essentially.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here, to say the least, King. I know we only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to do my best to get out there. First of all, I think that your media literacy and your unpacking of like what's happening in the background around the PR and the messaging and all that kind of stuff and the back channeling, like that is A class. Like that is A class just breakdown. So thank you so much for doing that, for showing that, for explaining that to your audience. Like, people need to understand that there's sophisticated messaging that's happening all the time, and that we need to be sophisticated about how we kind of like understand what these different entities are doing. And you have to get on that level of thinking to start unpacking it. So I think King just gave a masterclass. Secondly, there's one, Bitcoin is not crypto. Like, the crypto industry right now is a flaming dumpster fire, to say the least. So I don't want to be speaking in a way that's like defending, quote unquote, the entire crypto industry. I think the entire crypto industry has done a lot of bad stuff. And guess what? Regulators have been either complicit and or completely like gone or they're completely missing in action in terms of trying to clean up what is all the fraud and all the BS that has happened over the last few years. So one, I would say all of these regulators, they're either complicit or they're inept. There is absolutely no excuse how we got this far with so much consumer harm that has happened, both in regulated industries and not regulated industries, for them to continue getting funding in order to do what they're doing, because they are not, they are not effective. So I think we need regulators to start looking at themselves and seeing where they have failed the American people, because it is everywhere. So secondly, now when it comes to, okay, Democrats are working with and backing the SEC to take down crypto, I think what is important here is to understand the dynamics. Right now, we are an incumbent nation, and we have the entire financial system inside our walled garden. So our incentives, especially that of the ruling party, aka the Democrats, the ones that own the monetary printer and the ones that own the deep state, their incentive is to vanquish any monetary competition, right? And one of my favorite books, if you want to zoom in here, is this book, The Sovereign Individual. I take these to all the conferences I go to and give them out. This is such an important book. But the whole point of this book is it breaks down going into the internet future and what that is going to look like. And part of the thesis of the book is that countries like the US, places like Europe, these places are going to become the Luddites of the future because they are not going to be able to disrupt themselves. They have this thing called the innovator's dilemma. When you're at the top, it's hard to disrupt yourself and keep growing to the next peak because you have to, you have to burn down Wall Street in order to embrace crypto, if you will, right? So that's the incentive. So you should expect the US political system to behave this way, right? This is the game theory playing out.
That's what I always say.
So
it's technically it's national security.
It's
national security technically. So it's like,
for better or for worse. But
right.
Protecting the old guard, the king protecting his castle, is always going to be their choice. They're never going to say, I'm going to give up this for democracy. I'm going to give up this for decentralized money. Why would they give up the money printer? And you can kind of see the political divide. The Democrats used to be the hippies. They used to be the one against the corporate man, right? It is completely 180'd. And now they're the ones who are in charge of the money printer. And of course, they're aligned with it. So I don't trust the Republicans either. As soon as they're in charge of it, they're going to flip too, right? They used to be the neocons. Now they're the ones fighting for free speech. So the only people fighting for free speech, in my opinion, are Bitcoiners. They're the ones building the tools that guarantee free speech. They're the ones building Nasser. They're the ones building economic systems using encryption like Bitcoin. They're the ones building the Lightning Network. That's what the Bitcoin conference is about. This is where this community that actually cares about freedom comes together and talks about freedoms. And the politicians that actually care about Bitcoin, the ones that actually care about freedom, whether they're from the left or the right, they come here too. So if you go to our website, you can see the politicians that are coming here. You can see everyone in industry that is supporting this space. And you can see all of the amazing speakers and all the amazing agenda items and all that stuff that's happening at the event. So, hey, if you want to zoom in on me one more time before we bounce, let me give you another, kind of look at the conference hall. It's being built as we speak. And yeah, I'll see you guys in Miami.
And really quick before you leave, I just want to share with you this last picture and this video, 15 seconds from last year, folks. I couldn't pull it up, so I had to put it on YouTube real quick. But here was the actual, let's see if I can find, there it is. There's our team at the conference hall. So here's the Gym in the Crypto team at the conference hall, Big Volcano, all that good stuff. So it was a great time there. Shout out to Bitcoin Magazine. That was amazing. It was amazing. And then last but not least, the last thing I want to share, folks, is my surprise when I first walked into the conference. Here it is, Miami Beach Convention Center. That's the sound stage in the background, folks. And when I tell you this thing was huge, it was huge. So again, Bitcoin Conference 2023. CK, again, thanks for joining us. I'll let you end us. Last messaging. You got anything for everyone?
Come to the conference, watch the live stream. Peace.
There it is. And folks, if you're listening, make sure you get the Bitcoin Conference app as well. You can follow the app and track everything that's going on in the conference with different speakers and much more. As always, thanks for watching. We will see you all tomorrow. CK, thanks again, man.